is Jackie with Pocket of Preschool, and I am super excited you're here with me. Tonight we are talking all about writing trays and different ways you can incorporate writing in your classroom, and using sensory bags and just all different kinds of little tricks I have for you tonight. So really quick in the comments, will you tell me if you use writing trays in your classroom, or if you use sensory bags, or if you use kinetic sand for writing? Like what sensory materials do you use in your class for writing? Or do you do the typical shaving cream on the table? Like what do you guys do? Let me know. So yeah, that way we can all learn from each other too. So if you're wondering what in the world is a sensory writing tray, so what it is this little tray, and I'll tell you where I got them in a minute. So it's a little wooden tray, and I'll tell you different things you can use for a tray if you don't have these. But it's just a little writing tray with some sensory material in it. And I like these trays because I usually put like a writing card in it. Like these are the ones we have out for Valentine's Day. So they pick a card and they then write the letter in the sensory tray, and if it's on a table, like our rule is that it has to stay glued to the table. So they shake, shake, shake to erase, and then they pick a different card, write the letter, say the letter, talk about the letter sound, and then erase. So yeah, so that's kind of what a sensory tray or a sensory writing tray is. It's basically a really fun way to write in the classroom, so you're not having to use worksheets or dry erase boards over and over and over. Because we all know it takes kiddos a bazillion experience to learn how to write an M or a Z or a P or whatever it is, whatever letter it is. Or maybe maybe you're doing sight words in kindergarten. Maybe you're having them put a sight word word card up here, and maybe they're writing like it. And maybe they're doing sight words in their writing tray. You can also do, if you have little itty bitties, like little 3-year-olds, you don't have to use actually letter cards. You can just use different types of lines. So I just made these actually really quick before, that one's upside down, before we came live. So just the different types of lines. And these are literally just like laminated index cards, like nothing super fancy. So they would just pick a card, and then they would make that type of line in the tray. So I know you're thinking like, why, like what are they learning, right? So I'm gonna make you guys help me out on this one. So what do you think kiddos are learning when they're using a writing tray or a sensory bag for writing? So they're working on all their fine motor, right? They're practicing their letters, doing letter formation, that motor memory, which we've talked about before if you watched me. So motor memory is your muscles remember how to move a certain way. So like if you go to yoga class and the first time you do yoga, it's horrible because your body doesn't know what to do. But the second time it gets a little bit easier because your muscles remember where to put themselves and how to, you remember how to arrange your legs, and your muscles after like the 5th or 6th class, they're kind of like automatically doing some of the things that you had to think really hard about during that first yoga class. So it's the same thing with itty bitties. Their little finger muscles are having to remember all those different movements. Plus, they're having to remember the letter or the sight word or the shape or the number or whatever it is. So I see some other people saying that left to right progression, and that is a great idea, and the top to bottom. So if you're making an A, you want them to start at the top and go down. So that top to bottom, that left to right progression, fine motor. So I sometimes put a little object at the top, so if they don't want to touch what's in here, which I'll tell you all ideas for what's inside in a minute. Let me shake to erase. So they can grab it, and look at this, when they're grabbing either a pom-pom or a manipulative, or I put pom-poms in it sometimes at the top. So they're using that pincer muscle, those pincer muscles, and to make those letters. And I just kind of put it up here. So they're doing all those things. So they're working on letter formation, fine motor, they're working on left to right progression, top to bottom, letter formation, motor memory, visual discrimination, because they're having to figure out how the letters are different, how to make the different types of lines. So they're doing all kinds of things. And then if you're doing sight words, or maybe you're doing a counting one, then they're working on either sight words or whatever math concept you're adding in. And I'm going to show you how to add in math too. let's talk about the trays first. So these wooden trays, they are, they're just these. You can get them either at sometimes Target or Melissa and Doug has them, and these lacing sets come in them. And in the Target dollar spot, they're usually $3. They have the lacing set up here and the strings right up here at the top. And I literally just buy them for the writing trays. I don't think they're in the Target dollar spot right now. Usually, make sure you guys join my Facebook group, which the link is at the top of this post, because when these trays get in the writing in the dollar spot, I try and let everybody know because they're $3 and you get the lacing set, which you can use in the classroom too. Because we really can't find them anywhere besides like people, you know, some companies sell them for like $10, $15 a tray, which is out. That's silly. Don't pay for that. Wait till they're in the Target dollar spot. And then the Melissa and Doug ones are around like $15 a piece. And the Melissa and Doug trays are better quality. They don't break as easily, but my dollar spot ones have broken sometimes, but I just hot glue them back together. So these are just the little trays. Nothing super fancy. So if you don't have these trays, don't worry. You can still totally do writing trays in your classroom. So here is another writing tray that I have, and you can tell this one's for like a dental health or tooth or my body theme. So this one, these is just one of those, I'm afraid to like show you the bottom, but this is just a plate, and these are from IKEA. And I put the little, these are from my body and teeth center pack. And then I put a little tooth manipulative in it, so they can pick the letter. And then this one has colored rice. And then they hold the tooth to make the letter, and then they shake to erase. So you can use little plates. I know Walmart has had these recently too. So if you use plates, make sure you get a plate with a lip on it, because if you, I've tried to use paper plates before, and you can tell there's no really like lip on it, and the stuff just slides off the edge and it makes a giant mess. Which if you're okay with the mess, then that's fine. I've seen people, you put it on like a cookie sheet. Those cookie sheets from the dollar store are amazing. Those were great, and those are really big. And those, you can have 2 people do the cookie sheets at a time, and those have a nice lip on them. You can use any kind of big tray you have from like Target Dollar Spot or Lakeshore or anything like that. You can also use, and I forgot to bring one down here, but you remember, you know those kid divider plates? Natalie's asking about the rice, and actually I'm gonna dye some rice with you guys tonight to show you guys in a minute. But you know those kid divider plates they have, it's kind of like the 2 section at the top and the 1 at the bottom. Those are great as long as, again, they have that bigger lip. You can usually get them for like $1. Usually in the summer, they have them around like the picnic baskets, picnicky summer section. Christina says you can use pie plates from the dollar store. Those are great. Thanks, Christina. Because they have, again, that big lip so the stuff doesn't fly out as fast. So when I introduce these, I introduce them at the beginning of the year, and I introduce them during small group time. And we talk about how whatever is inside, you're not supposed to eat. And if you ever see white stuff in my sensory tray, it's just salt. Because guess what? They'll eat this once, and they won't try it again because it's disgusting. So yeah, so I tell them like these are our writing trays. When we have our writing trays, the biggest, most important thing, friends, is they stay glued to the table, because otherwise the stuff will bounce out and it will get all over you. And some kids do not like this sand or rice like in their shirt or up their sleeves or anything. So I just tell them, we're gonna keep these glued to the table, and when we shake to erase, we shake, and then we practice, say, okay, everybody make a line straight down, and we do it together, and then we shake to erase. And then I might use them, usually sometimes, it depends on my class and how old my kiddos are, because I have a multi-age preschool classroom, so I have a mixture of 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. So it just depends each year. Sometimes it takes me 3 or 4 small groups to introduce, and sometimes it takes me 2 or 3 small groups, and then I usually keep 2 to 4 of them, depending on how popular they are for the time, in my writing center. And do they spill? Yep. Have I spilled them? Totally. I was actually carrying a stack over from a small group to my writing center, and I tripped, and 4 sensory writing trays I like fell, and I'm not graceful, you guys. Like, it went up and everywhere. Oh my gosh. They were like laughing so hard, so hard. But yeah, so they spill, they clean up. It's not a big deal. But yeah, so spills do happen in my classroom too, especially when I'm the biggest klutz ever and I spill it myself, and then they think it's hilarious. So, but yeah. Now, so yeah, so that's the trays. So yeah, so again, these trays, Target Dollar Spot or Melissa and Doug, and if you don't have those, just find some plates with a big lip. Use pie plates from the dollar store. Really just, I know a lot of kinder teachers do this. So this one has kinetic sand in it, but you can put, I'll show you. You can put it in a pencil box, and then it has a lid. So, especially like maybe you're doing like fine motor bins, or maybe you have like fine motor drawers or something like that for like morning work, put it in pencil boxes, and then you can like put it in like a tub. Now I'm sure if they put it like sideways, it'll spill out a little bit. But yeah, but just put it in a pencil tray and it works just the same. It's just as easy. So yeah, so pencil box too. So let's talk about like what you can put in the tray. So this one I have these out for Valentine's Day, hence the Valentine's theme by me. And I am boycotting winter, so I decided to wear a summer shirt tonight to kind of like perk us all up because I'm so over winter today. So done with winter. So yeah, so this one just has salt, and again, I just use table salt, and then it has sprinkles in it. So you know these what are they like? These are like the colored like sugar sprinkles, so you can sprinkle this in there. Or like I use like a pack like this, and if you want cheap big sprinkles, like this pack was like $2.99 at like it's either like TJ Maxx usually has them for like seasons, or sometimes you can even get little tiny packs at Michael's, like a little tiny like $1 pack of sprinkles that are like seasonal. In the baking section at Michael's, they have some. Sometimes they'll have like a little rack. Sometimes you can get them at Walmart. But the cheapest place I find my sprinkles is like TJ Maxx or Marshall's. Like I said, this giant thing, it's huge. It's a lot bigger than the ones in the grocery store. The ones in the grocery store are like half the size, for like $6. But this one was like $3. It says compared to $4. But yeah, I see them for like $6 at like Walmart. But yeah, so grab these from Marshall's or like a TJ Maxx. And then like here's one I had from like Halloween. You can tell I used a lot of it up. And I'll tell you some non-food options too in just a minute. So like, let's say you didn't want to use the sprinkles, you could just put salt in here, and then you can put beads in. So just take some pony beads and throw them in there to kind of add some color. So you can add pony beads in here. And then if you want to do sand, like this pack of sands from the dollar store. So this would be fun for like space. And then you could put in some like little stars or something in there. But like this, so sometimes the dollar store has this colored sand for like $1, and like this will last you forever because this is, okay, so everybody asks like how I store my sand. And if it's themed, I'll take all the sensory trays and I'll just put it in like a little baggie and I'll put it in my theme box. But I usually in my like storage area buy all my extra trays. I have colored sand. That way if I want to just have, you know, colors out or something for like back to school. But like this is all it takes for one tray. That's it. It does not take much to fill up a tray. So yeah, so this would probably do like 4 or 5 trays for $1. And then you can also dye salt, and I was gonna show you that really quick. So this is some salt I literally dyed at like 6 o'clock, and it's almost dry completely. And you can see I dyed it green. So I'm gonna show you guys how to dye salt because everybody always asks me. I get asked that a lot. So you just grab a baggie, super simple, and then you just toss some salt in. I'm just gonna do a little bit to show you guys. Let's do, purple stains my hand, so let's do blue. I don't know what it is about liquid watercolor, but the purple stains my hand. So this is just liquid watercolor from Discount School Supply. Discount School Supply is my favorite liquid watercolor, but I know you can get it off Amazon. And at the top of this post, So I just squirted a little bit in. Now I'm just gonna like shake, shake, shake. If you go to the top of this post, I have all my favorite things listed on Amazon, so you can find the Colorations watercolor there. And I'm not gonna lie, liquid watercolor is not cheap, but it'll last you a while. So here it is, and if it's not dark enough, all you do is just put in a little bit more liquid watercolor. And then you just put it on a tray. Or like I have a paper plate right here, so I'm just gonna put it on a little paper plate. And then just kind of spread it out. And there you go. Now you have like cheap colored sand or salt. And it's really, like, how pretty is that, you guys? Like, that would be so pretty for like an ocean theme. But yeah, so it's that simple to dye salt. It is so, so simple. Like here's some like aqua I made that's really pretty. But yeah, so you don't have to like go out and buy colored sand, because colored sand is outrageously expensive. Just use liquid watercolor. You can also use food color, like regular food coloring. Sometimes it takes a little bit extra food coloring, but I know a lot of times, especially with Easter coming up, the dollar store has food coloring that you can get like a 4-pack for $1. So you can try using that. So yeah, so just dye your own salt for your sensory tray. And this is probably enough for like one whole sensory tray. So yeah. And then the liquid watercolors, they even have like gold and silver and white. And they have neon colors. They have a whole bunch of colors like on their website. I think I just have one linked on my Amazon store, but that's at the top of this post. But yeah, Discount School Supply has a whole bunch of colors. So you can go crazy. But yeah, so if you can use salt and you can color it. And then and if you don't want to do sprinkles, you can just mix in like fine glitter or like a chunky glitter or like a super chunky glitter. I think this is from like the Target dollar spot sometime. So you can put glitter in your trays, which, if you guys know me, like I have glitter all over my classroom at all times. Like I just add glitter to everything. So yeah. So, and you can put pony beads in. Like these are heart ones from the dollar store. You can throw any kind of shaped beads in. You can do sprinkles. For winter, if you want to pretend it's snow, put in some cornstarch in one of your trays. I'll just show you guys real quick. Oh, I'll make a mess. So some of these you have to be a little bit daring, but that's like with any sensory thing, right? So here's like snow. So I just dumped in some cornstarch, and now, and this is really smooth. So you'll probably want like baby wipes or something next to you if you're doing these. You might not want like these out during centers. But if like basically anything you have in the sensory table, you can put in a writing tray. Like you don't have to just do sand. You can also do like beans, or these are like, I think dried peas. And then if you're doing like a farm theme, you can put these in there, and then you can use manipulatives. Like these are little corns. It's not focusing for some reason. These are like little carrots. They're vegetable math counters. So if you're any kind of counter you have that's like long and skinny, that's like shaped like a pencil, you can put that in there. So you could have this in your writing tray, and they could use this to write their letters or their numbers. You could also put in corn. I do corn around Thanksgiving time or for a farm theme. That's really fun to put in. And then you could use an acorn. These are just those like little fake acorns from like Michael's during like fall, and then they can use the acorn to make their letters or their numbers. You can literally just put sprinkles in. Look, it says do not eat because we use these for my sensory trays. Do not eat these because they're gross. The kids have touched them. So yeah, so just literally dump a whole thing of sprinkles in there. And if we use that for when we do our birthday party theme, and then they use a candle. These are just little candles from the Walmart has really cheap candles, and I use them for math manipulatives too. So put the sprinkles in, just dump a whole bunch of these in, and then they can use the candle to write. And when you're using something like long and skinny, you can also use the end of a pencil for them too. Just make sure it's not sharpened, otherwise they'll literally like color in your tray. But they're also developing that pencil grasp because they're gonna hold it like a pencil. So if you have kiddos who are struggling with pencil grasp, you can also do cut straws, and then they'll hold it like a pencil as they're making their letters. So that's a really great way to work on work on that pencil grass. So just put cut straws in, which, you know, there's usually cut straws at the Target dollar spot for themes, and where else? The Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree has everything for teachers, right? So that's some ideas for you guys. Let me see what else. Oh, if you can also put, so this is just some peppermint in my Christmas ones. I just sprayed some of this peppermint oil. I got this in my Kinder crate, but it's a peppermint relaxation spray. So you can put essential oils in there, kind of like you do Play-Doh sometimes. So we'll just spray that on, and then it'll smell really good, which then if they're seeing it and they're feeling it and then they're smelling it, that'll awaken another sense. I've also used cinnamon sticks, like an actual cinnamon sticks, like the ones you buy that are like literally the whole stick. You can use those as to write with like a pencil for like a Christmas or a gingerbread theme. And I do not have a printable list, but I won't be able to do that for probably about a couple weeks, but I can work on getting a blog post together on a printable list with all of these ideas for you guys. I wanted to make sure you guys like this though before I went and, you know, made a list of everything. So yeah, so I can work on that for you guys if you guys want like a big list. If you go on my website, I have a big list of like sensory items for the sensory table, so I can make a list of all the different ideas and things you can write with and put in your writing trays too. I can totally do that. So yeah. So here's another writing tray I have. And this one just has regular like sand in it. And then I wanted to show you how you can make it more challenging if you have like older kiddos or kiddos who need another challenge. So this is one of my like dinosaur matching games. So there's an uppercase, and they have to match all the letters, and then they have to match the sound. So you can also put out like a letter puzzle like this, and we're just gonna pretend that all of this matches, okay? So let's pretend that this is something that begins with X, the letter X, and then, you know, a big letter X, or I think there's lowercase in there too. I don't know. Oh well, let's pretend this is like an uppercase and a lowercase and then the sound card. So they could do a puzzle, and like you could have it on the table, and then they could come over to the writing tray, or like, you know, they could have it next to them. So once they complete the puzzle, they put the puzzle on the top, and then they can do their writing tray, which now you've added even more, because now that you're adding a game that they're already gonna play, and maybe that they're not really excited about some of these printable games, because sometimes that happens. But if you say, okay, once you find the puzzle, I want you to write it in your writing tray, that might make them more excited to play it. So yeah. So I hear you guys saying that you want a list of all my ideas. So I will work on getting that for you guys. So yeah. So another idea I have, as I keep reaching around me. So if you want to add math, so I know St. Patrick's Day is coming up, and this is, these are in my St. Patrick's Day center. So I have these like gold coins, and there's uppercase and lowercase. A lot of my center packs have some kind of like letter printable, so they can pick a gold coin, and then they can like write the letter. And so this tray just has, this is colored salt that I made green, and then it has little shamrock and gold coin sprinkles. And I think this tray is like 3 years old maybe. So yeah, so like the sprinkles usually stay good for a while. I haven't really had any go bad. So if you wanted to make it math though, in my St. Patrick's Day centers, you can grab like any type of math card. So let's say I picked this math card, and then so I got my math card, and then I have a little pot of gold here, so they have to count out that many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they have to make the number 5. So now they're counting, and they're writing their number, and they're identifying the number. So you can totally make these writing trays math too. And you can totally do this with shapes. If you have any like shape flashcards or a shape game, they can put the shape up here, and then, you know, write the shape in the tray. So make it fun. Like it doesn't always have to be like just write letters. You can totally make it math too. And again, all of this is in my St. Patrick's Day Centers pack. in my TBT store, and the link is at the top for you guys. So let's dye some rice, right? Okay, so everybody always asks me how I dye rice, and it's super simple. So I just buy these big bags, and I actually usually buy the bigger bag than this at Walmart. And you just pour some rice in a bag. Let's see if I make a mess. Every time I do this every time I do this live, I make a giant mess. Okay, well, that's a lot of rice. Okay. So I usually do an entire baggie full, or I'll fill it up I just flicked rice everywhere, 3/4 of the way full at a time. And then let's do green, because spring's coming in. I'm sure I'll use green rice for something. So again, this is just liquid watercolors from Discount School Supply. You just squirt some in. Oh, and it does drip. So let me tell you a trick on your liquid watercolors before I forget. So these are all my liquid watercolors. I don't have the neons. I just have the regular colors and then the silver and the gold, but it does stick at the bottom, so you just gotta shake it up. They do have white too, and it will make things white, Play-Doh and stuff, because I use these for coloring my Play-Doh too. But as you can see, maybe you can't, but they drip. So you can kind of see the bottom. Whoa. Yeah, so keep your liquid watercolors in some kind of plastic tub, so that way they don't drip on anything, because they are washable. But you know what? Sometimes you just never know, right? That one time it drips, it'll be there for 5 years and you won't notice, and then it'll stain. And then what I also do is, because it's kind of hard to tell the colors, this is pink, I just write it on the lid. So that way I can tell what my liquid watercolors are, because yellow and orange kind of look the same. So yeah, that's my tip on, liquid watercolors. Put them in a tub, plastic tub, that way they don't spill, and write the names on the tops, because it's much easier to grab what you need. Okay, so back to the rice. So put your rice in, and I just drip some on the table, but that's okay. I knew I'd be colorful at the end of this. And then just shake. And you can totally have kids do this, and I'll tell you a story while I'm shaking my rice. So last week we had rice. We have rice in the sensory table for Valentine's Day, and it was just pink and red. And one of the little girls was like, we need purple rice in here. Valentine's Day has a lot of purple. And I was like, okay. So I went over to the closet, we grabbed the bag of rice, and we made some rice. And we made 2 baggies. And when the kids make it with you, just fill it up no more than halfway, because this will come unzipped. Yeah. So just shake it, and then let's say it's too light, just open the baggie and squirt some more liquid watercolor in, and you can totally do that. And I typically use a tray, but hold on. I have stuff all over my tray. Okay, I'm clearing it off. Okay. So this is just a tray from the Target Dollar Spot during school time. And I know Lakeshore has these too. So once it's the color you want, you literally, and you can use food coloring too, but once I tried liquid watercolor, I haven't gone back. It's just so awesome, and it's great for coloring Play-Doh. And look, it doesn't stain your hands like food coloring does. And if it does get on your hands, you just wash it off. And then here it is. We have a whole bunch of green rice. You can use it for the sensory table, you can use it for writing trays, whatever you need. And it usually dries in about an hour or 2, depending on the thickness, and you just have to shake it a little bit, and you're good to go. So now we have green rice, and it's not wet to the touch. That's all that's getting on my hand. So if your kiddos help you, and you're worried about their hands, because some parents they freak out when they come home dirty, which, hello, we're preschool, they're gonna come home dirty. But this will not do anything, because you can tell I'm not very green, and I just made this. So yeah, so that's how you make rice, colored rice anyways. I wouldn't suggest cooking that rice and eating it, but yeah. Oh, so everybody's like, liquid watercolor rocks. I know, it is my favorite. Once I bought it, I was like, oh my gosh. Where has this been my entire teaching career? Why have I never bought it? Because it's so amazing. And you can use it for art. We could do like, maybe I'll do a whole Facebook Live on liquid watercolor. So this brand is Colorations. And actually the bottle design has changed a little bit. They updated their bottles because I think these are 3 years old. And it just depends, like I use black a lot, like for Play-Doh, so like my black's half gone. So if you want black Play-Doh, liquid watercolor, awesome stuff. But yeah, so this one is turquoise. So yeah, so liquid watercolor Colorations, it's my favorite. You won't, once you buy them, you just, oh, it's just amazing. So yeah, you can buy smaller packs too, like at Walmart or Amazon. You can buy smaller packs of liquid watercolor because I want to say like a big pack's like $60, but I mean, I bet those will last me like 7 years maybe. So yeah. So some other ideas I have for you, so that I found as I've been shuffling everything around. So if you, let's say because I also want to tell you, some kiddos are not going to want to touch this. They're going to be like, nope, I am not touching that. Don't make me. And they're going to like move back from the table. We all have those kiddos who just do not like things that feel weird. And that is okay. You can totally work on that with them all year and hopefully get them up to where they love to play in it. But my go-to for those kiddos is a paintbrush. So that way they can still do the activity, but they don't have to touch it. And it's nice and it's smoothing. It doesn't really stick very bad. They may have to like tap it a little bit if they get too much on it. But yeah, so just if you have a kiddo that doesn't like to touch any of this, just give them a paintbrush and keep going. Let the other kids put their fingers in it, whatever. So yeah, you're good to go. And I know I saw somebody ask, now our kiddo's gonna like do this the whole time. So what'll happen is I'll like, I do writing trays a lot for morning table time, and I'll like put out writing trays and then I put letters in the middle and they can write. Now they'll make a letter and then they play for a couple minutes or a couple seconds and then they put it back and then they shake to erase. And you know what, that's okay with me, because if they're just doing this, you know, maybe that's helping them relax. Maybe that's helping them calm down. Maybe that's helping them settle in for the activity. Maybe they just need that quick 5-second break. Yeah, so if your kiddos are making a letter and then they're kind of playing it a little bit, it's okay. They're still doing that fine motor. Maybe they're making like a figure 8 on there and you just don't realize it. So yeah, so they are going to play in it a little bit, and that's okay. Our other rule is, besides our rules are it has to stay glued to the table. And then the other rule is only one finger goes in the sensory stuff, because otherwise this is what they do. They like play in it like it's a sensory table. It's like a mini sensory table. So our rule is glued to the table and then one finger at a time. But they can still have a lot of fun, like moving it around and stuff. So that is one idea. And then let's say you don't have any cards for that theme, or you can't find them, because that happens, right? Like we think we have everything prepped and then we go to grab something and we can't find it. Just put out a cube dice. Like here is a number cube dice, and then I made these are like totally homemade shaped dice. This is like a wood cube, and I just cut stickers for different shapes. So they can literally roll the dice. And then they can take a manipulative, so they can, maybe you have beads out and they can put 4 in, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then they can make the number 4. And then they can take the manipulative out, and then they can shake to erase. So you don't have numbers, or you can't find your letter cards, just give everybody a dice and they can roll the dice and make that number. Or if you have a manipulative again, just have them put that in the tray. And then if you have shaped dice or shaped flashcards, or maybe you have a shaped printable game of mine or somebody else's, and just take those cards from the shape game and use them for your writing tray. So they can roll the dice or grab a card, and then they can, identify it. So this is a rectangle, and I'm gonna make it on my tray, and then I'll shake to erase. So super, super simple. Like these don't have to be these insane, like this one is pretty, okay, so this is one of my favorites, when I do it with this. But this one's like pretty fancy, right? Like you gotta have your gold coins and your little pots, which These little pots are from like Halloween time, by the way. And then the counting ones. So the counting ones might be a little bit more complex, but just put out a tray and a dice and you're good to go. Or maybe you have letter dice. They can roll that too. And then that just gets them moving just a little bit more too. All right, so what are some, just checking the time, guys. So another thing that I like to do are sensory bags. These Halloween baggies I made 2 years ago. But all this is a baggie, like a good baggie. Like these are the Walmart brand, but they're the thick ones. Don't use like the thin dollar store ones because they'll break and they'll explode. But all this is inside is hair gel from the dollar store. And I think you can get 2 or 3 hair gel baggies from one bottle. And then a squirt of liquid watercolor. And then this one, these are my Halloween ones. So like these have glitter and eyeballs in them. So my trick is for sensory bags, you don't want to put in anything that's pointy because it'll puncture the bag. And then this has clear tape at the top. But you can also just make like different colors. And like this one just has hair gel, and then it has blue liquid watercolor and glitter. And then this is just duct tape across the top. Like colored duct tape, super simple. Or like you can use the clear packing tape across the top. Totally up to you, whatever you want to do. So I have just like a plain, like I have a bucket of just like colors. So if we're doing a theme and maybe they're getting sick of writing trays, maybe they're like getting bored with them, I will toss these out on the writing shelf in place of the writing trays. So the writing trays will go away for a while, and then I will get these out. And you can do the same things with these that you can with the writing tray. So let's say I have my, we'll do it. So let's say I have my writing tray right here, and all they do, oh, and when you do it, make sure you squeeze all the air out of it, because if you get air bubbles, it gets kind of tricky. But let's say, again, you have these little teeth cards, and they just pick a card, and then they just make it on their bag. And then they squish to erase. So how fun is that, right? They get to squish it. And you can do the same thing. If you have little itty bitty 3-year-olds, just give them different types of lines. If you have any of those printable like lines, like a line tracing mat, just put those out, and then they can pick a line tracing mat, and rather than making it on the printable, just have them make it on their baggie. And they're good to go. And let's say your kiddos, because some years I have kiddos who puncture my bags because they have like maybe long nails that year, or maybe they're pressing really hard. You know how some kiddos press so super hard. If they're like puncturing your bags, just grab some pom-poms. So these are like pom-poms from like Walmart. Look how fun these are. They're like sparkly. Just give everybody a pom-pom, and then they can write, get this out of the way, sorry. They can write with their pom-pom, and now they're squeezing their pom-pom, they're using that pincer, those pincer muscles, and they're not puncturing the bag. Because some years kids just have long nails, or again, they press too hard, or they just puncture the bag on accident, and that happens. But a paintbrush, it works too, but sometimes if you have a paintbrush that has like a funky spot on it, it could puncture your bag. So I would just stick to pom-poms on the bags. So these are super fun. And you can do the same thing, so here's a green bag. So you can do the same Patty's Day one. They can pick the card. So they pick the card. They picked 5. They get to get out 5 gold coins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then they can make the number 5 on their bag. And you can have them make sight words in these. You can have them make their names. And so let's say your kiddo has a really long name, like Jacqueline, like I do. What I usually have them do is they'll make the first letter J, and then erase. A, erase. C, and then they can make all the letters in the name. You'll just do them one at a time. So if you have long names or long words you want to practice, you can totally do it on here. They'll just probably have to do them like one letter at a time. So yeah. So these, again, just hair gel from the dollar store, liquid watercolor or food coloring, and you do not need that much. You need like literally 2 drops, because otherwise it'll get really dark. And then you'll just have really dark hair gel in your bags. And glitter, like I don't know if you can see, I always add that really like fine glitter to it, to my hair gel bags, just so they glisten. But again, I love glitter, so. But yeah, but you can totally do, I saw somebody, Nina said sight words and just use a bigger baggie. So Nina, that is a fabulous idea. So just grab like those gallon size baggies, and you can do the sight words in a gallon size baggie. So thank you, Nina, that is a fabulous idea. So somebody's asking about how much hair gel I use. So, let me see, oh, look, here, let's just make one, why not, right? So I'm just gonna, so these again are just the thick quart baggies. Why can't I get it open? Oh, there we go. And then I just squirt it in, and I just kind of like eyeball it, and then I'll spread it out, and I'll be like, oh, like, whoop, sorry. I have a notification on my phone. So I'll just squirt it out, and I'll be like, oh, this one needs just a little bit more. I'll squirt in a little bit more. So it took about almost a half, so you could probably get 2 hair gel baggies out of it, and maybe like a partial one. And then we'll do some liquid watercolor. Let's do orange just for fun. And just squirt, a little bit in. That might be too much. And then seal it. And then I just scoot it all the way down, and then just kind of shake it around. And you can add your glitter in at this point too. Just shake, shake, shake till it gets all the color in it. And then I always smooth it out towards the top just to make sure there's enough in it. And if this isn't dark enough, you can always just squirt it in a little bit more. Like I'd probably want this one a little bit darker. Just because it's the same color as my table. So that way they can see. And then just shake, shake, shake. Ooh, that's pretty now. And then you have a hair gel baggie, and then again, just put some tape across the top. You can do clear tape, or you can use colored duct tape too much. Oh, somebody said that once they used too much hair gel and they couldn't write in it. So yeah, so if you put too much hair gel in it, the hair gel, it doesn't really have anywhere to move. And I have totally done that too. So if you do that, let's say like this had too much in it, what I usually do is I'll cut the corner of the baggie and then squirt, like reuse my hair gel and squirt this in a new baggie and in another baggie. That way I'm not like wasting all my hair gel, which I know it's $1, but still I don't want to buy like a bazillion dollars of hair gel. So yeah, so hair gel on a budget, right? But yeah, so that way you can like reuse. I have another idea for you guys. Sorry, I looked around and I saw another one. So I know some of you guys can't use shaving cream in the classroom. So if you can't use shaving cream, I'm sorry. I feel really bad for you. That is so silly to me that we can't use shaving cream. But anyways, so let's say you do shaving cream on the table all the time, and you're like bored with that. Like they're like, put shaving cream on some foil. Okay, this shaving cream looks like it's almost gone. But we're just gonna pretend that's like normal looking shaving cream. And then they can trace it down here, and it's kind of like, it's gonna run if I do it anything, but it'll be like, I don't wanna touch it, because then I don't have anything to wipe my hands off with. But yeah, but then it'll be like, it's contained all on foil, and you can use wax paper too, or yeah, wax paper or foil, and it's kind of like ice on like an ice rink. So then they're painting on the foil, and then if you wanted to, you can even put, I've done this before, I've covered the whole table with foil, and then I will squirt shaving cream on it, and then drip some liquid watercolor in it, or paint, like a little bit, and then they can like swirl it around and just have fun and make letters and writing and do all kinds of fun things. So yeah, so somebody's asking where the trays are from, and the trays are from either the Target Dollar Spot or Melissa and Doug, and these lacing sets come in them. And if you if you rewatch it, I give you lots of ideas at the beginning on other things you can use. And then I also have one other idea for you guys. So, like I told you guys, I had kinetic sand in here. Now, I know you guys are like, kinetic sand, like what am I gonna use with writing? Well, one, kinetic sand is awesome. Like I love this stuff because look what I use it for. I use it for writing, and like you can put like a word card up here or a letter or maybe a name card. Here. Yeah, let's use this one. I'll just use the one I have out. So you can put a word card up here or a sight word, and then they can stamp their letter in the sand. You probably won't be able to see it on Facebook, but on the video. But yeah, so yeah, you can totally stamp words or letters with letter stamps in the sand. You can also, if you have letter cookie cutters, you can do letter cookie cutters in the kinetic sand, and then they can trace them with a paintbrush or their finger, or they could put like beads in it and decorate it. Because I mean, really, like what little lady would not love this? Or maybe you wanna get some like, maybe you don't wanna do hearts, that way maybe you wanna get like silver ones or something for like, and you can put like gold ones, and they can be like buried treasure. They can like make the letter and then turn the letter into like buried treasure and put like little gold pony beads in it. So that's super fun. I did not make this sand. I've never been successful making kinetic sand at home. I buy it off Amazon. And again, my Amazon link is at the top. But yeah, I've never had good luck making my own kinetic sand. If you have had really good luck making your own kinetic sand, please put how you make it in the comments so you can share the awesomeness with us, because I've never been good at that. So yeah, look how fun, you guys. So fun making their letters, making them into buried treasure. So fun. But yeah, and then I just keep, I think I have like 10 boxes of kinetic sand, and I just keep them in these pencil boxes, because especially at the end of the year, we use kinetic sand a lot because they're kind of like bored with writing trays. So we kind of switch to kinetic sand sometimes just to mix it up, because if you use writing trays every day all year, they're gonna get bored. If you use sensory bags every day all year, they're gonna get bored. If you use kinetic, just like with anything else, you gotta like mix it up. Ooh, Natalie said put rocks in it. Ooh, that would be really fun. Good idea, Natalie. You know those rocks? I'm thinking those like pebbles from, you know, at the Dollar Tree, they have those tiny pebbles. That would be really fun to put in here for like a camping theme or a pond theme maybe. But yeah, I think that's all my ideas for you guys. Hopefully I filled your brain with tons and tons of ideas for writing trays and sensory bags and writing with kinetic sand. But yeah, so I hope you guys had an amazing time, and I will see you guys next week. If you need anything from my TPT stores, at the top, my TPT link is at the top of this post. And I don't think I put my blog up there, but it's www.pocketofpreschool.com. If you're not signed up for my newsletter yet, make sure you do that, top of this post again, because I always give you guys goodies every week, and it's just awesome. So yeah. Alrighty, and I give you guys a heads up when sales are coming too, which is always helpful, right? Well, you guys have a fabulous night, and I will talk to you guys soon. I'll see you next week. Bye.